Just to walk you through, so one of the other one-to-one traders, what he did, we were analysing this yesterday. We had a session yesterday late afternoon, and obviously we said about the reaction of that weekly 38.2 fib. You know, the bigger picture was that, you know, we're looking for that reaction, which is what we've got, and we've made our money to the downside, and then we've retraced nicely to the 76.4, which is what you've got on your chart, the one that you shared with me today, which works really nicely as well. So you know, you're highlighting that. So again, with these fibs, when you are looking at the move back up, you want to make sure that you are using the zero, the starting point. The zero is here, so this has the 0% at the top going down, which we've identified. And let's just zoom in and have a proper look. This is a daily. So we've come down beautifully, 400 pip move that is. So you do expect to see a move up. That's why I said, right, I was done with this. I'm not getting involved anymore, and just allow it to reset. And then yesterday we had this move on a daily, which was a nice reversal. So I thought, okay, that's decent. We can see further upside. But on the smaller time frames, we had this move, a little bit of a correction, which suggests an Elliott wave kind of a setup, which is it goes up and then it did a 76.4 pullback, which is nice. So you see this here, because somebody was asking me about shorting this when it was doing this on Wednesday, and I said, yeah, you know, look at it again in the evening, 5-6 o'clock. We had a nice little drop, and so first target was down to around 140, 148.80, 148.75 to 80, because it likes the 80 number. We've got nice 764 down there, so it did that. So that was nice. So they made a little bit just shorting that. And they were then looking for longs. And one of the other guys that I had the session with yesterday, we looked at the long move up to the 38.2, because it's a round number as well, 150.06. And we basically said, okay, if it stalls around here, we can look for a continuation down with an MT strategy. So it goes down, pulls back 38.2 to 50%, but ideally somewhere around here, and then drops. And we had, you see that 4-hour candle, this one here, we had a bit of indecision, and it did try. So you drill down to an hour, you drill down to maybe a 15-minute, and you start looking at the price action up there, because initially when we were looking at it, it was doing this down here, and we said, well, stick to the rules. Some traders could be a little bit more aggressive, but I'd say just be patient and allow it to come up to the key levels. That's what the fibs are for, and that's given us 150.06. So wait for it to get there and see what it does. By the time it got there, it was you can see it's 5 o'clock in the evening. So I'm saying to him, all right, well, you know, get in or not, but put in a small position if you want to take it short. At least you've allowed it to get up here. He did take a small position short, and he got stopped out. He got stopped out because it broke and went up. So overnight Asian session. So then he's gotten in, basically because we've done the analysis and the breakdown. He said, okay, it's not going short, so we'll take the MT strategy to the other side of the 38.2, because this is a line that tells us if price is going to potentially change sentiment. And we talked about the fundamentals as well. So we covered things like, in Europe at the moment, they haven't been getting their act together in terms of rollout with the vaccine. They've had a few issues. Like I've got friends in different countries, Germany, Italy, and they're telling me that in some of the major cities, like the capital, like Rome, for example, people aren't even getting vaccinated yet. So, I mean, with everything that's going on, and I was saying to him how funny it is with Boris and his mad scientist hair. He's actually been getting stuff sorted in terms of a rollout of vaccine. So that in terms of the pound is a good thing, because what it suggests is potentially that the UK might see a bit of a recovery, economic recovery, a little bit sooner or a little bit better compared with, say, the rest of Europe, and so that might bode well with the pound. And the fact that we've technically done some decent corrections, which is what we were after, we could say, well, if it breaks this 38.2, that'd be a good entry for some longs. And I said to him, 150, 160 is a 76.4. And I said also you've got to take into account that this 150-145 is that weekly fib that we just covered and we spoke about and we've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks. So anyone who's trading the pound yen with us would know full well what we're on about in regards to, with regards to this and in terms of levels. That's why we focus on a few pairs, because then we can just keep stalking the price action. We know what's going on day by day. So it helps him, because then he reacted. He didn't just try and take a short here and it didn't play out. He then got involved and took it long. So he's currently long. His T1 was to 151 because of 61.8. It's a round number as well. And looking at the time, when you look at it on an hourly, it was a really good trade. So his T1's been hit, which is nice, and now he's looking for the 76.4. I'm sharing my setup because I'm saying, well, if the pound, and particularly this pound yen, if it is going to keep storming on up, we've got plenty of scope here to actually get up and break above this weekly fib, and then we'll start looking for further upside, which might be quite something, in terms of getting all the way up to at least a fib extension. So this is, these fib extensions are amazing. So that was the play. That I think I showed the same sort of price action and the play with like the Dow Jones, for example. I had a T1 and it hit it to the pip, and then we had the fib extension. So we have these moves, these pullbacks, and then you look for those fib extensions, because that's how price moves. It breathes in, breathes out, and you look for the extension. So extended down, I've got my target was 32,200 to 38.2. So we've got the first major fib. Also, we've got the extension that helps us navigate the price action, because we're getting these swings. Because price moves like this, doesn't it? It goes down, does a leg down, leg up, back down, leg up, back down. So when it does these moves to the downside, so going back to pound yen, it's gone down, and now leg up might give us that thrust and break the highs, and eventually just get up to, maybe by next week, we have 3 more days of the month remaining, we may well see a solid move to the upside and break the last high, 152. Well, yeah, because even if you were looking for the breakout up here, you still have a 100 pip scope to the upside. So there's a lot of potential here. So it wasn't a case of getting in late. So even like you're saying, getting in a little bit later, getting in up here, just allow it to pull back and see what sort of pullback we get. Because to be fair, right now we are reacting nicely off these fibs, and fibs are working quite a treat. And I've seen over the last week or two in particular as well, that 61.8 has been working quite nicely on some of these pairs as well. So the fact that it's at around number 151, just see what happens here. It might be a decent, the other guy's taken his profit T1 at this level around 151. It just made sense. So just be mindful of that. See what sort of correction we get. That's what it's looking like right now. Say it drops back like this, finds some support, doesn't take out this low, there might be another go to the upside and look for higher still. But certainly there have been some nice moves this morning, especially across the yen pairs. One of the other guys was trading Aussie yen, New Zealand yen, some other yen related pairs as well, and they've been doing similar sort of things. But definitely seen some nice price action, and the pound yen's been very, very good so far. So that's what we're looking at anyway, and looking at the fundamentals, a few considerations. We'll see. It's broken up, and it's certainly given us some bullish intentions. But and also look at your awesome oscillator. Look at the volume. The volume's been quite generous. That's a 1 hour. Use the high time frames as well. Don't forget to look at them, because on my 4 hour I'm seeing it's just broken up above the 0 line, which is really, it's quite nice. It's like one tooth. So we'll see, like a baby tooth. We'll see how it pops up. See if it can give us a little bit more. Some of this gradual movement up, a bit more than what it gave here. But that's promising as well. That's encouraging. So definitely got some bullish momentum, and we saw that with the diminishing volume to the underside, and it was reflected with a 764 pullback rejection of the low, at a key level as well of this major 764 of this range as well. So 764 here, 764 of this little pullback. So I think 76.4 somewhere up near the previous weekly fib as well, major fib. I think that makes for some further decent upside. There is a generous amount of imbalance as well. So it's not justifiable to take longs here without some consolidation, without some sort of pullback, without something. You can see, you're buying at the top of the move. I mean, if it has the legs just to punch higher, great. But yeah, yesterday's candle and today's candle, they're almost the same size, so that it has pumped up quite nicely. There's been plenty of buying. That does suggest that there could well be a little bit more in the tank to the upside. It's bullish, isn't it? It goes without saying. But it's not enough to say, okay, this is bullish, let's get involved. You have to also you have to also consider the entry as well. The entry has to be on point.
Yeah.
That's why we use the fibs. So 38.2 is an entry. Break of that, maybe consider 50%. Again, depending on the volume, but getting in at around number 151, 61.8, you can see it's done this move very nicely. So this is what happens sometimes. People have a certain fear of missing out as well. I think actually this is going quite well. Again, even if you were to swing trade this, the stop loss is quite large, quite generous, because it could just do this and you could get all the way down back down to 149. Could see a 764 drop on this move like that, and so we could see maybe like a 38.2, 50%, 618, somewhere back down to below 149, 149.80s, 149.10. You never know, it might just stay range bound for a little bit. So yeah, be aware of that as well. But yeah, no, I wanted to share that with the rest of the group, so thanks for letting me do that. I'll stop that recording. Let's have a look at the other pairs that you were looking at as well.
That's the swearing now.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.